Spaniards had ruled the Philippines for over 300 years. Revolutions sprouted and sought for Philippine independence against Spanish colonial rule. Andres Bonifacio was the leader of Katipunan frontlining the Revolution. Katipuneros, led by Andres Bonifacio, rose up in revolt in August 1896. Cedulas were torn as a sign of enslavement of the Filipinos. The cry of Balintawak was then regarded as the name of the monumental event in the history of Philippines, occurred in August 26, 1896.
The cry defined as the turning point when the Filipinos finally refused Spanish colonial dominion over the Philippine Islands. With tears in their eyes, the people as one man pulled out their cedulas and tore them into pieces. It was the beginning of the formal declaration of the separation from Spanish rule.
The author, Soledad Borromeo Buller, is the granddaughter of Guillermo Masangkay, a Katipunero who worked closely with Andres Bonifacio from the earliest days of the Katipunan. Participated in the events in Balintawak in August 1896 in the rebel effort to attack Intramuros on 29-30 August 1896, and who nearly lost his life in the Battle of Zapote against the forces of General Lawton in June 1899. Borromeo Buller had her preparatory education at Central Escolar University and received her bachelor's and master's degrees in history from the University of the Philippines. She was a member of the UP History Department prior to her departure for the United States on a Fulbright Hays Scholarship and received her PhD in History from the University of California at Berkeley in 1972. She wrote about the Japanese and the Davao Land Problem, 1901 to 1941, for her master's thesis and social and economic history of Cavite entitled El Cadiz Filipino, Spanish Colonial Cavite, 1571 to 1896. For her doctoral dissertation, the author also had her teaching assistantship in the History Department of the University of California in Berkeley, taught and various times at the College of Alameda, San Jose State University at San Francisco State University.
Soledad's Cry of Balintawak, published August 1st, 1999 by Ateneo de Manila University Press. 16 kilometers away from Balintawak, which is the modern Caloocan today, and some parts of modern Quezon. For nearly a century, the Cry of Balintawak, a major turning point in Philippine history, has been the subject of controversy. The author aims to help resolve this controversy by analyzing eyewitness accounts and contemporary documents heretofore unquoted, misquoted, or misrepresented. In her reconstruction of what transpired in Balintawak when the Katipuneros, led by Andres Bonifacio, assembled in Pook Kangkong in August 1896. She demonstrates that the cry of Pugad Lawin was a hoax. History is hard to probe, for we are not descendants of the past events. Despite the clues that the past leave behind, historians have unique and differing interpretations of the past, and more and so, these interpretations which leads to debates or conflicts, leaving truths unresolved. The first cry of revolution is the most significant part of the Philippine history. This historic event is the fight for Philippine freedom and independence and the abhorrence of Spanish rule within the Philippine grounds. The cry was the birth of Philippine Revolution. Despite that, various accounts have stated different dates and places of when and where the first cry happened. The most controversial debate is whether the first cry happened at Pugad Lawin or Balintawak. Balintawak has indicated as the first staging point of Philippine Revolution on August 26, 1896. In Dr. Pio Valenzuela's first version of the Philippine Rally of the Philippines, in the later version, he changed the place and date from Balintawak on August 26, 1896 to Pugadlawin on August 23, 1896.
Despite his affiliation with the Katipunan and Andres Bonifacio prestigious, historians have been refuted the second recollection of the event according to the footnotes from his work Memoirs of the Revolution. He was noted by the young Filipino historian Al Raposas that this statement has been lacking and uncertain. Pio Valenzuela made several statements, changing the location and dates of the first cry, with Valenzuela's fading memory and his inaction to consult the written documents of the Philippines Revolution. The second recollection has been compromised its truthfulness to the public. As the commander narrated, Bonifacio together with 20 men from Caloocan moved to the barrio of Balintawak until they were attacked by the Guardia Civil and they were forced to retreat to their hiding places. Andres Bonifacio convinced the Filipinos to join the revolution and the people shouted as one revolt. And to prove that they are devoting their hearts to the country, Bonifacio inclined them to tear out their cedulas, and the people started tearing out their cedulas for it a sign for slavery of the Filipinos. Evidence. On 3 September 1911, a monument to the heroes of 1896 was erected in what is now the intersection of Epifanio de los Santos Avenue and Andres Bonifacio Drive, North Diversion Road. From that time on until 1962, the Cry of Balintawak was officially celebrated every 26 August. The three primary sources are the account of Dr. Pio Valenzuela, Santiago Alvarez, and Guillermo Masangkay. They participated in the revolution as the witnesses on the happenings during the revolution.
Neither could the 1911 monument have been erected to mark the site of the first armed encounter, which incidentally the Katipuneros fought in one. A contemporary map of 1896 shows that the August battle between the Katipunan rebels and the Spanish force led by Lieutenant Ross of the Civil Guards took place at Sitio Banlat, north of Pasong Tamo Road, far from Balintawak. The site has its own mark. Gregoria de Jesus' version of the first cry, August 25, 1896. This version was written by no other than the Lakambini of the Katipunan, wife of Andres Bonifacio, Gregoria de Jesus. She has been a participant of this event and became the keeper of the secret documents of Katipunan. Santiago Alvarez, The Cry of Bahay Toro, August 24, 1896. This version of the was written by Santiago Alvarez, a well-known Katipunero from Cavite and the son of Marinao Alvarez. Santiago is a relative of Gregoria de Jesus, happened to be the wife of Andres Bonifacio. The controversy among historians continues to the present day. The Cry of Pugadlawin, August 23, 1896, cannot be accepted as historically accurate. It lacks positive documentation and supporting evidence from the witness. The testimony of only one eyewitness, Dr. Pio Valenzuela, is not enough to authenticate and verify a controversial issue in history. Historians and their living participants, not politicians and their psychopaths, should settle this controversy.
It is not clear why the 1911 monument was erected there. It could not have been to the mark site of Apolonio Samson's house in Barrio Kangkong. Katipuneros marked that site on Caingin Road between Balintawak and San Francisco del Monte Avenue. Guillermo Masangkay's The Cry of Balintawak, August 26, 1896. This version is written by the Katipunan General Guillermo Masangkay. He is an eyewitness of the historic event and a childhood friend of Bonifacio. According to him, the first rally of the Philippine Revolution happened on August 26, 1896 at Balintawak. On August 26, 1896, a big meeting was held at the house of Balintawak Apolonio Samson, then the cabeza of that barrio of Caloocan. Among those who attended, I remember, were Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, Aguedo del Rosario, Tomas Remigio, Bricio Pantas, Teodoro Plata, Pio Valenzuela, Enrique Pacheco, and Francisco Carrion. They were all leaders of the Katipunan and composed the board of directors of the organization. Delegates from Bulacan, Cabanatuan, Cavite, and Morong, now Rizal, were also present. At about 9 o'clock in the morning of August 26, the meeting was opened with Andres Bonifacio presiding and Emilio Jacinto acting as secretary. The purpose was to discuss the uprising was to take place. Teodoro Plata, Bonifacio's brother-in-law, Bricio Pantas, and Pio Valenzuela were all opposed to starting the revolution too early. They reasoned that people would be in distress if the revolution were started without adequate preparation. Plata was very forceful in his argument. Starting that uprising could not very well be started without the arms and food for the soldiers. Valenzuela used Rizal's argument about the rich not siding the Katipunan organization.
Various accounts, such as Captain Olegario Diaz, a Spanish commander, and Guillermo Masangkay, a close friend of Bonifacio and a member of a Katipunan, supported that cry happened at Balintawak. Historian Gregorio said Balintawak stated in his books in 1954 that the cry happened in Balintawak on August 26, 1896. There exists a monument in Balintawak that inaugurated the first cry of Balintawak in 1911. The monument gives homage and tribute to Andres Bonifacio and the Katipuneros, the heroes of the revolution. In 1968, the monument was then relocated to the University of the Philippines campus in Diliman, Quezon City, despite the monument being renamed as the Cry of Pugad Lawin. The monument was originally erected at Balintawak. It was relocated to give space to the expansion of Epifanio de los Santos Avenue and the construction of current Balintawak Cloverleaf Interchange.